Throughout history, rulers wielded power that could shape entire civilizations. But some of them didn't just rule, they indulged in bizarre demands that baffled their contemporaries and astonished history. From strange decrees to eccentric whims, these rulers set the bar for absurdity in leadership. Today, we delve into the 33 weirdest demands ever made by rulers across history, some of which were a product of their power, while others were born out of personal obsession or sheer madness. Our journey begins with the ancient and medieval rulers, who often had limitless power and little restraint in their desires. These leaders' demands not only shaped the societies around them but often created legends that would last for centuries. King Nebuchadnezzar II, Babylon, 600 BCE. King Nebuchadnezzar II of Babylon was a conqueror who wanted to leave behind a monumental legacy. He famously ordered the construction of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. However, it wasn't just the gardens that were outlandish. Nebuchadnezzar demanded that his subjects worship him as a god, and he went as far as to have large statues made of himself that would be paraded through the streets. Emperor Caligula, Rome, 37 to 41 AD. Caligula, the infamous Roman emperor, wasn't just erratic, he was downright bizarre. His demands were almost theatrical. He wanted to be worshipped as a living god and even attempted to appoint his horse, Incitatus, as a consul. But it didn't stop there. Caligula ordered that his horse be given a marble stall, a jeweled collar, and even a palace of its own. He also insisted that a temple be built in his name and demanded that his subjects make sacrifices to him. King Louis XIV, France, 1643 to 1715. Louis XIV, known as the Sun King, was obsessed with maintaining an image of absolute power. His demands extended to every facet of life in his court, including his personal hygiene. He insisted on being dressed by his servants every morning, and even his meals had to be prepared in a certain way. Most bizarrely, he demanded that every piece of his wardrobe be designed to make him appear even more regal. His attire included layers upon layers of extravagant clothing, even if he was just lounging in his palace. Louis XIV had a personal chef who would prepare meals specifically for his dog, such was his obsession with luxury and control. King Henry VIII, England, 1509 to 1547. King Henry VIII's demands weren't limited to grandiose displays of power, his personal desires were equally odd. In his quest for a male heir, he demanded that his wives undergo invasive pregnancy tests before their wedding night. He even insisted on having his marriage annulled and his wives executed if they failed to meet his expectations. Beyond his obsession with producing a male heir, Henry also surrounded himself with extravagant banquets and designed massive palaces that reflected his royal authority. The Renaissance and medieval periods saw a flourishing of art, science, and culture. However, this also brought about strange demands from rulers who saw themselves as cultural, political, and sometimes divine figures.
Emperor Qin Shi Huang, China, 221 to 210 BCE. Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China, was a man obsessed with immortality. He demanded that his empire search the earth for the elusive elixir of life. His desire for eternal life led him to take extreme measures, sending thousands of men on dangerous expeditions to find it. At the same time, he had his tomb built in secret, complete with thousands of life-size terracotta soldiers to protect him in the afterlife. Pope Alexander VI, Vatican, 1492 till 1503. Pope Alexander VI's demands were nothing short of bizarre. Among his eccentricities was his insistence on surrounding himself with luxury and debauchery. He demanded that his papal court be a haven of excess, and his personal demands included the use of human skulls to decorate his throne. He also frequently hosted extravagant banquets, where he would have entire animals roasted whole, often as a show of wealth and power. Charles I's obsession with his image extended beyond portraits. He demanded that his personal artists flatter him in every portrait, often making him appear much taller and more imposing than he truly was. His vanity didn't end with his paintings. He also spent lavishly on palaces and elaborate court functions, even as England was spiraling toward civil war. Idi Amin, Uganda. The infamous Idi Amin's eccentric demands often crossed the line between the absurd and the terrifying. He required that his ministers bow before him and address him only by his self-proclaimed titles. His Excellency, President for Life, Field Marshal, the only one of all Africa. Amin also made the strange demand that all foreign nationals in Uganda refer to him as the last king of Scotland after a movie based on his life. His delusions of grandeur didn't stop there. He declared himself a godlike figure and demanded elaborate rituals of worship. Mobutu Sese Seko, Zaire, 1965 to 1997. Mobutu, who ruled Zaire with an iron fist for over 3 decades, wasn't satisfied with just political control. He wanted total domination. His demands included having his image everywhere, on billboards, in schools, and even in the homes of every citizen. He also ordered that his country's name be changed to Zaire, rejecting the previous colonial name. One of the most bizarre requests was his demand for an airport with a private runway, completely isolated from the country's regular air traffic. Queen Elizabeth I, England, 1533 to 1603. Queen Elizabeth I, one of England's most iconic monarchs, had a very specific demand regarding her image. She insisted on being painted as a youthful and powerful figure, regardless of her actual age. Her portraits often portrayed her as a forever young, virgin queen, helping to solidify her reign as one of purity and power. Sultan Abdulaziz, Ottoman Empire, 1861 to 1876. Sultan Abdulaziz had an obsession with technological progress and demanded to be the first ruler in the world to own a steamship. His demand for modernity didn't stop there. He also ordered the construction of one of the world's first elevators inside his palace. From kings and emperors who demanded the impossible to leaders who sought to immortalize themselves, history is filled with rulers whose demands left an indelible mark. Their eccentricities may seem outrageous, but they serve as a reminder that absolute power can lead to absolute absurdity. If you've enjoyed learning about the strange and bizarre demands of history's rulers, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let us know in the comments.